So let's have a talk about your previous roles as a salesperson, dating back to when you started, and your 10 years and the awards that you won back then, and then as an independent, the volume of sales that you've done through those years, and then how that transitioned into being a business owner and a state CEO with Harcourts.
So when I started in real estate, so the first 10 years was with the Peter Lees Group, part of the professionals. Back then, I had a fairly clear plan of where I wanted to go and how I was going to get there. Back then, the multi-list was the preferred, well, not so, it wasn't the preferred method of selling, but it was a very popular method of selling where you would, one agent would take control of the house, but he would pass information out to all the other agents in the region. And when I started, I thought, well, I think that's actually quite a good method of selling, because you get lots of people trying to sell the owner's house, and I still control it. So I multi-listed, I would say, a good 50% of my houses. And by doing that, I actually would regularly win the Northern Tasmanian Multi-List Salesperson of the Month award. Virtually every month for about 10 years. And then that would lead into the Tasmanian Multi-List Salesperson of the Year award. And I think I won that 8 years in a row. And I used that as a method of helping to grow my business. If I could promote myself that I'd won the Northern Award, then the Tasmanian Award. And even though I would say in my marketing that I was the Tasmanian Multi-List Salesperson of the Year, I didn't say I was the Tasmanian Salesperson of the Year. It's sort of, people didn't distinguish between the two, and eventually their perception was that I was the #1 salesperson in the state, and eventually that's what happened. Perception became reality. So, you know, I had a very successful sales career at Peter Lees. Then I left and went to M&M, and that was probably when just the beginning of the boom, so it was actually a really good time to set the business up. And I did go into ownership and management as well of that business. And you know, my best couple of years I had there, I think my best year was 2004, I think, where I sold 280 properties that year, and I think I sold 276. It was either the year before or the year after. Which, you know, commissions were a lot cheaper and values were a lot cheaper, but that was huge numbers back then.
Very big volumes compared to anyone in the States even doing today. So.
To be honest, I actually don't know if anyone does anywhere near those numbers. I'd love to be doing those numbers today. I'd be a wealthy man. But you know, certainly, yeah, I still did very well by doing those numbers. And then obviously joined Harcourts, and I have just gradually, bit by bit, grown a team within my office, then around the state, around me, and gradually have taken you know, backward steps along the way until eventually, you know, I just don't have anything to do with sales now. I may occasionally list a property and pass it on, and I still have lots of people who come back to me, but I just pass them on to people within the office or within other offices. And so these days I don't sell at all. I'm just too busy, you know, obviously overseeing and helping the group grow and so on.
In 2015 you were inducted into the Harcourts Hall of Fame, which is a fairly short time compared to some of the other people that have been inducted over the years that have been with the group for many years, which obviously shows that they held you in very high regard. Talk about that process and yeah, how they induct people now that you're in the Hall of Fame, and yeah, how it all happened, I suppose.
Well, you know, it was just such a huge surprise, to be honest, and it was an amazing night. It was you know, it was quite an overwhelming, humbling sort of night. You don't have any idea what's going to happen. This is the decision on who gets the award is done at the very highest level. So you don't have any idea who's going to be awarded that. And I remember on the night I was sitting there with Kate and Anna from the corporate team, and we were discussing who was going to win it. Well, they had obviously knew that I was going to win it, and they kept a very straight face, and obviously they were part of the whole plan, and getting my wife and my children and my brothers all up there without me knowing. And so it was an amazing experience. I was dumbfounded. I couldn't speak. You know, so it was a wonderful experience, and a great award and acknowledgement for, I suppose, what I've put into Harcourts and real estate in general. Yeah, so wonderful experience.
Yeah, and I guess part of that probably is to do with the market share across the state. Now, that's something that's pretty unique, I suppose, around the world, and a lot of the locations with Harcourts are in having a market share as high as what you've achieved in Tasmania.
Yeah, I suppose that is maybe some of the reason that I got the award, because, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think we're anywhere above, I don't know, 8 or 9% or something. I'm not sure in any other state. So to be somewhere around the 25 to 30 is a huge thing for us. But I think it was also the fact that, I was quite happy to regularly travel interstate and take training in other states to help them grow.
Yes.
So I think it was part, I'm a team player. I'm there to help people, not just within the state but other states. So I think that's part of why you get acknowledged, not just the fact that you've hopefully done a good job in your own state.
Now, Harcourts are in over, 10 countries now, and there's around 800 offices around the world. Tell me about the places you've travelled and the people that you've met in the last 13 years with Harcourts.
Yeah, look, one of the great things about Harcourts is I've had the opportunity to meet some really talented, wonderful people. I've had the opportunity to speak at the inaugural conference in South Africa.
Yes.
I've also spoken at one of the New Zealand conferences, which are huge compared to the Australian conferences.
Yes.
And to be on centre stage in those places is quite an amazing experience. And so that was a great learning experience, to be out in front of 1,000 people talking.
Yes.
Normally here in Tassie, I'm in front of 50 to 100.
Yes. So
it's a different experience. I've met lots of great people too. Within the group, obviously formed a good relationship with Mike and Paul Wright and Gilbert Anoka. But meeting people like Bob Wolf, who's legendary in the US in terms of real estate. Martin Cooper in New Zealand. So there's lots of great people. So lots of I wouldn't have met these people if I weren't with Harcourts.
Well, thank you, Tony, for your time and giving us all those insights into Harcourts and your past career.
I'm more than happy to be here to chat with you, and if there's anything I've said that's helped anyone in any way, that's great.
As always, if you've got any comments or questions, please comment below or get in touch with either myself or Tony on our websites.